Many a Galaxy Brain Turbo take has been proffered in the past week, but among the worst is the argument that even if the election was stolen, we should just move on, because at least that way, we might get to keep the Senate. It's the only psyop you can spot from space, and when Neil, the bullshit merchant of Venice, Bortz is offering it up, you know it's capital BS. Time now for Republicans in Congress to get off their asses and repudiate Trump's actions. America's gonna depend on a GOP House and Senate to preserve liberty. Ain't gonna happen if they don't stand up now. Hey, thanks for laying that 11D chess on me. But quick question, Professor Frink. If you tell the, around 51% of the electorate who in a recent poll described the election results as profoundly fucking fishy, that their vote didn't matter enough to investigate this time, and the nearly 100% of registered Republicans who believe it's an outright fraud, who the lemon fresh fuck is gonna ride to your rescue in the runoff? The winged hussars? It sure as shit won't be the Republican voters, champ. Biden benefits from the only voting bloc that's closer to the grave than he is. What mere mortals would be willing to push a crosswalk button for you cunts, let alone traverse their own cities to cast a vote for a venal shitbag who told them their vote ain't worth a bead of brow sweat to ascertain the election's actual fucking validity? Decades upon ass-pounding decades of sad sack pseudocons is what gave you Donald Trump, and your only answer now is act more like the sad sack pseudocons? Here's my counteroffer, you cunt. If you throw my vote out, I throw your fucking party out with it. Understand this, Mr. Turtle in the 45th Do-Nothing Brigade. If you don't fight here, if you go quietly or continue to sidestep away from the candidate that made you momentarily relevant the past 4 years, you sell my vote down the river in the name of establishment exigence. The moment the sound waves from that fucking gavel reach my ear holes at the commencement of you floppy-jowled fuckbags returning to business as usual in mid-January, we break into the Bush family mausoleum, give H-Dub a titty twister, and install a rotisserie in John McCain's coffin, because he'll fucking need it for the reckoning to come. If you think Trump calling McCain the coward collaborator and fake fucking war hero he was stiff, bitch, he was the buffer between you and a citizenry who wouldn't piss on his backstabbing Politico corpse to extinguish a fire. Trump wasn't merely the roadblock between the establishment and their globo-collectivist endgame. He was also the firewall between the establishment and fucking us. This ain't incitement either, it's a warning. Putting aside the fact that our country is more on edge than Alex Jones watching a 24-hour loop of Red Dawn while freebasing diet pills and pixie sticks.
My superpower is being honest. I'll eat your ass. I will. I'm combat model, optimum self-sufficiency.
Probably the leader.
Self-governing democracies, without exception, fail to fucking survive without provably legitimate elections. And while Democrats on the surface appear to regard the instances of voter fraud to be so minor Biden is currently leaning in to sniff them, behind closed doors, in private, I find they'll confidentially admit the totals in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Georgia are sketchier than Life Drawing with Michael J. Fox. About 5 seconds before they even more loudly concede they don't give a flock of flying fucks. I warned you all that thanks to the heightened, stratified socialist rhetoric of Antifa and others, we were catapulting towards this fraudulent eventuality. And perk an ear, because for what it's worth, I'm warning you again. We started out at cope harder, dude lost, promptly progressed to ever more angry assertions that Trump should just go home, and as sure as I sit here, we will ultimately arrive at, all right, the election may have been stolen, but thank God it fucking was. Mark it down, bitch, like Bill Clinton at the first sign of resistance. It's coming. Folks, there may be some genuinely self-deceived sorts out there who legitimately believe Biden could pull a higher percentage of the black vote in Detroit than Obama. All fucking 5 of them. The rest are well aware of the wonkiness at play here. They just don't give a shit so long as the commander-in-Cheeto goes bye-bye in the process. And that is a dangerous indulgence among friends, let alone enemies, which by arguing my vote doesn't matter enough to at least double-check, you've made oh so many more, motherfuck stain. And in case you weren't paying attention this afternoon, the Rudy has no evidence claim died a horrific shrieking death before millions, appropriately in the town of Gettysburg, just today.
What that indicates is there is a spike in loaded votes, 337,000 plus or minus of some votes that were added in there in one big batch. So that was an anomaly in the reporting. Normally, you would expect to see a smooth curve going up, not any big spikes. That's kind of what Greg was talking about, the anomalies of loading and uploading those votes. So that big spike that occurs there is a prime indicator of fraudulent voting.
And that's 604,000 votes in 90 minutes, is that right?
Correct. This is 337 votes, 337,000 votes in that
period of time.
Yes.
And when you look at this entire curve with all these spikes, can you calculate how much of a vote that accounted for Biden and how much for Trump?
Close to 600,000. I think our figures were about 570 some odd thousand that all those spikes represent over time.
For Biden?
Correct.
And how much for Trump?
I think it was a little over 3,200.
Look, I like Sidney Powell, and Release the Kraken may indeed make a better bit of merchandise, but the more mundane, provable fucking fraud, the kind of wash in statistical impossibilities, timed ballot dumps, and disappearing ballot signatures, is far more nefarious. Why try this case in the media when you could just as easily take it to the courts, you ask? Because ain't no jury gonna see this case. A judge will. In most cases, an elected judge, meaning a more politically minded motherfucking judge, which in deep blue burgs like Philly and fucking Detroit means Democrats. Behind closed doors, the bitches in black robes can play Pol Pot away from prying eyes. But if you make the public aware of the evidence first, you preemptively put the judges on fucking blast. Suddenly, they have to play the tin pot tyrant in front of rolling video cameras, and their confidence turns to strict constitutionalism in 5 seconds fucking flat. This is a natural consequence of the left spending half a century using the courts as a cocksock. What did I say in my stench from the bench rant, over a year ago? We can roto-root the fucking swamp, toss out the foreign infiltrators, purge lobbying and special fucking interests. But if we fail to reckon with the corrupt courts, we lose it all anyway. Rudy Giuliani, it appears, is officially fucking aware of this fact. And given that this is the same cat who three-point tackled the New York fucking mob, may God have mercy on the fraudsters' souls. But folks, he can do everything imaginable right and still lose this. We watched the media reframe Trump's audit effort as sour grapes, but the truth is, this ain't about Trump anymore. Trump, and even Rudy, will not save us. Only we can do that. For all the Redditard's claims to the contrary, Trump is not a dictator. He is the head of one of 3 branches of government. This is on you now, motherfuckers. There are more of us than them, so march. Given that Trump got many more millions of votes and Dems use any day ending in Y as an excuse to mass protest, when we turn up in bigger crowds by a lot, the Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona fraud machines will have a hell of a lot of explaining to do. Take it from the guy wearing aviators indoors. Optics matter. The media can demoralize, the Blackpillers and bedwetters can cuck and run and wax strategic while sobbing into their shitloads of mainstream media cash. None of it changes the objective reality. They can only take it if you give it to them. I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.
You better stand on your feet. Out on the limb, right out on the edge. Too much.
I'm somebody that thought I could fix this, and I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbors.